In today's society, we are never far from the little handheld devices that accompany us in our everyday lives. Mobile devices such as smartphones have become a popular trend in everyday culture, allowing us to use them like never before. Photography is a medium that has grown rapidly since its birth in the 17th century, with the first photograph being created in 1827. As digital technology has evolved, there has been increasing question of photography's status in the professional field, as a growing number of us are now able to take our own photographs independently. Today, I will be investigating how conventional mobile devices make an impact on the photography industry and how this affects practitioners in the freelance field. Graham Young is a freelance landscape photographer who runs a business in partnership with the Lynton Gallery based in Devon. Do you own a smartphone by any chance?
I do own a smartphone.
Ah, lovely. Do you use it quite a lot to take photographs?
Never.
So what do you think the differences are between, say, a digital SLR camera, which is standard equipment, and an iPhone camera? Do you see any difference in quality or any other elements there?
The main difference I see is in the control that you have over the taking of the image.
In a world like today, more and more people can take photographs now because we have so much access to technology with the use of camera technology, be it smartphones, compact cameras or digital SLRs. Is there any involvement at all with mobile devices such as iPhones in your everyday routine in terms of recording or taking pictures that gets used towards your business?
No involvement whatsoever. No mobile devices. No, I don't use at all.
What exact production method do you feel produces a better quality print? Do you think the new digital era has helped make things easier by circulating images more? I mean, as we can now email, access images online, has any of this sort of technology made business different to you at all?
Oh, vastly different. Yeah, I would say the gallery I've got, I couldn't possibly have set this up with traditional darkroom technologies. The cost of the printing, it just wouldn't be viable.
Yeah.
And also, of course, the online selling.
Do you feel the advances of technology has particularly impacted your business in any way?
I think the big advantage I have is that so few people actually print anything these days. It's completely different from seeing a large framed print on a wall.
Well, digital technology, smartphones, tablets, anything of that sort of camera device, it's evolved so much in the world now, and it's very demanding, and it sort of gives you an easy resource for social and cultural information in terms of photography. Do you think that the use of mobile devices may be possibly replacing traditional methods of viewing photographs?
I think, yes, sadly, I think it is. As I just said just now, people do tend to take loads and loads of pictures on their phone or tablet or whatever. But how often do they actually look back and see what they've taken? And in 10, 20, 30, 50 years' time, all of those images are going to be consigned to an obsolete piece of. And I think that is very, very sad.
In recent years, there has been an increase in awareness of how many of us are taking photographs using mobile devices. In 2013, the national newspaper The Guardian released an article titled "The Death of Photography." This article brings debate on both the negative and positive views on this subject, addressing how photography has never been more popular. However, the article also addresses how damaging mobile devices are to the new generation of enthusiasts using photographic skill professionally. The article discusses various arguments, including how images taken on an iPhone do not present the same quality when printed on a large scale. However, the article also talks about how professional photographers experiment with these devices on occasion. The article mentions fashion photographer Nick Knight's book in tribute to Isabella Blow. The book features 60 images taken completely on an iPhone 6. Investigating this further, I discovered an interesting opinion from the British pioneer who participated in an interview documented by the Independent newspaper. Knight states, "Photography attracts a lot of people who like objects, cameras." He continues to say, "I'm really not at all interested in what camera anybody uses. When I see an image, if I think it's really great, I never think about what camera has been used. What is interesting here is that even as a professional photographer, there is doubt or dismissal in certain types of camera technology.
So we can also look back at the photographs that were taken in the 1800s, 1890s, 1900s, and we can see what life was like, if you like.
Yeah.
But are there going to be any images of the early 21st century or the 21st century for people in the early 22nd century to even look at? Digital devices are stored in computers, laptops, all of these things certainly in your lifetime, probably within mine, are going to be obsolete. How much information is actually going to be lost to the future generation?
Do you think the use of mobile devices takes away the expertise and perhaps the interest away from digital photography or any photography, even analog perhaps? Over time, it's sort of developed so much that we're starting to think differently about what we should use to take pictures, whether professionally or as a hobby.
There's always been the difference between the keen photographer that goes out with for want of a better word, a proper camera, and the snapshot photographer who goes out with in the old days, what would have been, say, a Kodak Instamatic or Box Brownie or whatever.
Yes.
I liken the people who mainly use the smartphone cameras to the Happy Snap photographers of the past. And also you do have the advantage then that they're instantly accessible and viewable. Whereas in the old days, it's still, I'll take a picture and hope it comes out.
Do you think the smartphone trend has possibly brought some damage to the whole experience of photography in terms of the technical side of it?
I think all of modern technology has degraded, if you like, photography to a degree. Everybody, it's so easy. It doesn't matter what camera you've got. It's what you see down it and what you do with it.
Yes.
I can take a perfectly good picture with virtually any camera in existence once I've mastered the technical details on how to actually use it.
Yes, so what you're saying is it's not just about the camera, it's about the photographer and the skill.
The camera is nothing. The camera is just a tool. You need to know what you're doing to take a good photograph.
Using mobile devices for photography has boosted the world of commercial advertising via social media more than ever. But how does this affect the individual photographer? In 2015, the company Apple revealed a collection of 57 favourite images photographed by members of the public using their own product, the iPhone 6. Among this collection, selected imagery was chosen to feature as posters in the Apple stores, quite frankly using iPhone images as advertised display. This example generates the implication of product promotion through shared and possibly amateur images, supporting the case that anyone can be a photographer. So is the digital era taking over? In his book Ubiquitous Photography, published in 2012, Martin Hand discusses how photography has transformed and is now recognised not only within the creative industries but also within other consumerist and scientific areas where it could be of use. Hand discusses in the second chapter how the digitisation of photography connects to or represents reality, in which he states the development of photography has been central in establishing dominant ideas about how images and reality are connected, and that radical change in photography implies shifts in these connections across the social field. Here, Hand is basically saying the more photography develops, the more social culture will react, and thus causing more consumerist interaction with images. Hand also recognises photography's power in providing information about the world, giving us real evidence of what exists or what has existed. In the article titled Digital Photography, published in 2008, Jos van Dish analyses photography's role in communication, identity and memory, in which he gives further consideration to how digital technology can also affect us intellectually and personally. Dish discusses how the manipulation of photography can provoke us to create our own narratives, even if what we are seeing is exactly what it shows. Dish takes note of the believability element and also refers to Roland Barthes, in which Dish gives us a perspective on exactly that, perspective. Dish recalls from Barthes how the photographer sees the image, how others perceive an image, and how the photographer wants others to perceive an image. This leads us to the question of how digital imagery can affect our intentional perception as well as our own personal thoughts on what we gain as a visual audience. So how do these prospects affect photographers in the freelance field? Well, the answer to this question depends on the intentions of the photographer. There are many small photography companies and freelance workers we can turn to for not only the purchase of their work, but also of our own. However, this does not mean that purchasing our own images takes away business for the independent photographic salesman. If anything, this brings in more business for other consumerist interests. Do you actually know anyone who uses things such as smartphones in their work at all?
The only people I know that do are various so-called artists, i.e. painters, who will photograph some of their work as a record of what they've done. Or they may go out, take a scene to look at it, with it on screen, and they'll paint it rather than painting it from life out in the landscape. Yeah. They'll photograph it first and then come back to the studio and paint it. I don't think photography has ever had, and possibly never will, the same standing as painting as an art form, which I think is very sad.
Yes, because it's often brought up actually about how photography is defined as an art form, whereas painting has obviously been around for a long time. And now photography is being considered along the same lines as painting in some respects. What do you think of that?
Many people have considered photography as an art form right back in the earliest days of photography, obviously. Photography as an art form is nothing new. Photography
is a medium where things are constantly changing. You can manipulate images now instead of just having them as raw files. I suppose with painting, it's just one thing that can't change, I suppose. Do you think?
Anything I do now to an image is nothing that I couldn't have done 20 or 30 years ago in the darkroom. It's more instant.
How do you think the security has changed in photography since the introduction of new mobile technology? I mean, how do you protect your images?
I don't think you can protect them, to be perfectly honest. There's nothing whatsoever to stop somebody buying a picture from me off the wall here and taking it home and copying it and reproducing it. I hope people don't. There's very little you can actually do. And that's always been the case.
An interesting point is made here. What happens if you intend to sell your images online when in partnership with another association? The copyright notice that covers use of digital images, photographs, and the internet explains what would need to be considered when using photographic imagery for online use by networking through other companies. The notice states how licensing images provides extra safety in using images online without risking infringement. But it also states that even with licensing, the proposer must still receive valid permission. But this leads us yet to another issue. What ways are there to protect images when it is so easy for users to access images online? As well as making a license agreement, images can also be watermarked with the copyright symbol or disabled in allowing people to copy and paste. And when working as a freelance photographer, using these types of methods couldn't be more crucial. Other non-profit organisations such as Creative Commons are an effective alternative option when it comes to protecting creative imagery. So how could this be useful to freelance practitioners in the professional industries? Founded in 2001, the Creative Commons allows users to share or publish creative and informative materials online with the use of tools that provide copyright protection. These tools include obtaining copyright licenses, where the proposer is able to choose the type of license they wish to use, in which the website offers 6 license types. The organisation is also involved in supporting other projects within educational, scientific and cultural sectors. And in 2010, Creative Commons launched an additional service program, the Public Domain Dedication. This tool provides easier access to creative online data and protects works that are already copyright-free. An article published by the BBC in 2011 tells the story of British photographer John Worth on how the organisation assisted him in selling his work while still allowing others to use it without breaching copyright infringement. The article documents evidence of how the organisation acts as a defence that allows creatives to be flexible with how they intend to protect their work. Creative Commons is useful not only in protection against people who may try to steal work, but it can also leave doors open for independent creatives to promote themselves within the supportive community under safe regulations. What do you think the future holds for digital photography? I mean, can you ever see it coming to a stage where mobile devices might even take over and be used in the future instead of the classic camera?
No, I don't think they will. There's always going to be people like myself that want that extra control.
So the impact of mobile devices does make a difference. And even though some of us may find the evolution of mobile devices a threat towards photography as a medium, it is still useful in sharing work with others faster and on a much larger scale. But it's not always about what we use to take photographs. The most important thing is using our own creative initiative to capture the moment.